This presentation covers the reporting of findings and/or results for a dissertation. Please pause when helpful. Upon completion of your research, before putting together an outline for your writing, think about everything you've accomplished so far. Also, keep in mind that findings typically refer to qualitative research and results relate to quantitative research. So if you write findings and results, you're implying a mixed method study. You'll then want to ask yourself the following questions. What themes emerged? How did your findings and results differ from expectations? What findings or results necessitate more detail and attention? And what would an average educated reader expect to read about? These questions are necessary. As with anything, there are pitfalls to be aware of. Too much extraneous information clouds the picture and gets in the way. Avoid over-reliance on numbers, direct quotes, and tables or figures. And put yourself in the perspective of the reader. Would they understand your structure and flow? And look out for missing information. If you set up the expectation that something will be covered or answered, make sure you do that. Your structure will be mostly determined by whether you're writing a traditional Chapter 4 or an executive dissertation. A traditional dissertation will typically begin with an introduction that reestablishes the methodology, population, problem of practice, research questions, and the content and purpose of the chapter. You'll then have a section header for either findings, results, or findings and results. This will be followed by a mapping paragraph that establishes the information that will be covered. Each section and subsection will then contain your interpretations, explanations, comparisons, rationalizations, and evaluation of your findings and/or results. You'll then finish with a conclusion, and depending on the length, some subsections might have their own conclusions. For an executive dissertation, your introduction will be brief and concise, transitioning smoothly into your establishing of purpose and content for the section, with everything else very similar to a Chapter 4. Pseudonyms help protect the confidentiality of people and organizations. Sometimes, though, a pseudonym is not needed and actually causes more harm than good, creating a question or mystery that bogs down the reader. For instance, if you're looking at a single institution like the University of Southern California, then you can easily just refer to it as the university. Similarly, Mass General Hospital could be the hospital. When a pseudonym is appropriate, you'll want to establish it during first usage and then use it throughout. The examples show how you write it out fully, then detail it as a pseudonym, and possibly also an acronym if you wish to abbreviate. For a qualitative study, detailing your participants in a table is recommended. The extent of information you provide, however, is a matter of balancing the risk of disclosing potentially identifiable information with the benefit of sharing what is relevant. The pretend table I've created here is an example. Details interviews with principals and assistant principals from 4 different high schools. Each school has an abbreviated pseudonym, and the participant names are unisex and with code for relevant information, as opposed to using participant number 1 and so on. Use of codes like this for your pseudonyms is worth consideration, especially when there are relevant distinctions to make among participants. However, I don't recommend anything more complex than this. The goal is to help the reader with a balance of information. Anything more is probably too confusing. Headings serve as street signs, letting your reader know what to expect. Your headings can also specify your findings and/or results. For instance, it's easy to do something like this, where you detail the people and what you found. Similarly, topic statements drill down further and deeper, as this example indicates. Of note, remember that 3 is a magic number. Aim for at least 3 sentences in a paragraph and at least 3 paragraphs in a section with a heading. After the topic statement, you'll then provide key information. This example includes a quotation attributed to a participant with a pseudonym. There is no need to cite personal communication with them. You also should not begin or end a paragraph with a quotation. Lastly, you'll conclude each paragraph with information that further emphasizes the importance of what you shared while also setting up what follows. Connecting, comparing, and contrasting are easy ways to do this. Finally, you'll finish with a conclusion. Lengthy subsections might also benefit from a brief conclusion. This is your chance to synthesize, summarize, and compare or contrast key information. And that's it for today. Please contact me with questions and stay tuned for future recordings.